So, I don't know
Is it
when.
going now?
Wait, you know what? The microphone's not working.
Yes, I'm thinking it's on.
It is blinking? Yeah, and everything's plugged in where it's supposed to be plugged in. This is where it's supposed to be plugged in. Okay, just in case. It was working just seconds ago.
We're going to reconvene the meeting here. Next thing on the agenda is a public meeting is being held at the request of a former employee regarding a personnel matter. Before we start, as you know, the Greenville Board of Selectmen terminated your employment as property maintenance supervisor on June 14, 2019. The board made this decision based on information available to them at the time in which included a report from the town administrator and from me. The reasons for your decision were set out in a letter to you dated June 14, 2019. In the letter, I, on behalf of the board, told you that you could have a non-public hearing before the board where you could appeal that decision. Subsequently, your counsel told our attorney that you insisted on a public meeting, and so we are here in public at your request. I want to assure you the board wants to get it right. We understand its important rights are at stake. The board's attorney and your counsel discussed the procedure for this meeting ahead of time. You and your counsel can present whatever argument and evidence you had that the incidents described on June 14th letter of termination are incorrect or misinterpreted, or that they did not warrant termination of your employment. The town administrator and or counsel retained for this purpose will have the opportunity to respond. You and your counsel can offer rebuttal, but you do not have to. Show's yours.
Thank you. I'm going to try to stand. I feel more comfortable standing. My name is this being recorded?
Yep, oh yes it is.
My name is Paul McCaffrey. I'm an attorney changing the background down the street across the line. And with me tonight is Chief Martelli, my partner. Together we represent Paul Hayden, who's the subject of this meeting. I would just like to start by briefly saying that the reasons for his dismissal are pretextual, and the real reason is in retribution for Mr. Hayden making a complaint last year of a hostile work environment. Unfortunately, the selectmen in this town have taken over responsibilities of the town administrator. Yes, you can smile, Mr. Selectman, but it's serious. And have micromanaged and harassed this man who's worked for 10 years for the town, doing just about everything. And I would like to ask, do you want people under oath, or I don't think it's necessary?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's totally up to you. I mean, as we discussed, I want you and Mr. Marvelli to control what's going on.
I will do so. I know that there are some people here who give asked or have given the opportunity would like briefly to say a few words. And I'm going to allow that. First, I'm going to ask Mr. Hayden a few questions about what he has done for the town over the last 10 years and his response to your specific allegations of misconduct. And Paul, you can stay there. See that you just give me a throw, okay? That's a lot better. I can see everybody. You're Paul Hayden.
Yes, I am.
You live in Greenland,
Yes, I do.
and you've worked for the town for the last 10 years.
Just a little over 10 years.
Could you tell the selectmen just exactly what their job duties are?
I do a lot of mowing, take care of the buildings when needed, electrical work, plumbing, patch roads, work with contractors. Any emergency comes up, they call me. I'm in charge of the transfer station, the guys up there handling all that.
You're on call 7/24.
Pretty much, yes.
You're a salaried employee.
Yes, I
Forgive me for leading, it'll go a lot faster.
Yes, I am.
Well, I would be surprised if you did anything, but.
And you're salaried, but in the last 10 years, how many times have you worked less than 40 hours a week?
One to my knowledge.
10 years.
Yes.
Is it often more than that?
Oh, yes.
Then you don't get paid in the overtime.
Once I became salary, no.
Yeah. Until the election of the most recent election of two new selectmen, how did you get along with people in the town and town government?
Pretty good. I mean, other than that one problem, which was taken care of.
And that was your complaint about hostile work environment?
Yes.
You did that on your own?
Yes, I wrote a letter to the board and the town, I wish I knew the company, but I had a meeting with a lawyer.
Counselor?
I think we have from Primex, someplace, I don't know.
Okay, and that was resolved.
Yes.
And you've got a letter of dismissal there. Do you have it in front of you?
Termination of employment, yes.
The first one, we've numbered these for ease of navigation. 1 through 11. Could you describe the first one and tell us whether that was resolved?
That was resolved in a apology letter and should have been over.
You apologize. What caused number 1?
I was told to come here and show me something, a piece of tape on a light switch,
How long had that piece of tape been on that light switch?
as long as I've been here.
10 years?
Yeah.
Okay, and what were you told to do?
To take care of it, and I said it wasn't a safety issue at this point, I'll get to it, and it got into an ugly thing, and I'm not gonna say what I said, but,
Well, you said, finally you said, fuck you, didn't you?
well, yeah, I wasn't gonna say it, but go ahead.
Okay, and you apologize for that.
And I looked at, well, I wanna say, I think Brad actually wrote a letter of apology and I signed it.
Okay, did you consider that incident over with?
As far as I know, yes.
And that was between you and one of the new selectmen?
No, he's not new as of this year,
Okay,
but yes, one of the selectmen, yes.
okay. Number 2, could you describe that briefly and tell us what that's about?
Well, that was when they came up to me about a schedule and stuff, and it was how it was written, and I argued in the case because I'm salaried.
Okay. What was the dispute about?
My schedule of work hours.
And you were told to work a certain schedule,
Yes.
and do you get any overtime if you work more than 40 hours?
No, I do not.
And how was it resolved?
How was it resolved?
You said you refused to accept that schedule.
I worked the schedule as ordered.
Okay. And was there anything more about that?
No.
Number 3, this is on the same day, May 29th of this year. What's that one about?
I had a friend borrow my car trailer, and when he returned it, it was very muddy where we park it, so I had him put it over here. I showed him where to put it on where the town garage is until it dried up. I was asked to remove it after a period of time, and unfortunately the day I told him that I would do it, there was a car parked in front of it. So I told him I'd do it the next day, which I did, and that was told her it's my personal property, it's not supposed to be there. And it kind of bothered me a little bit. It was all about that until we got buses and other cars parked there all the time. So personal property, I took all my personal tools home that weekend.
Those were your own tools.
Absolutely.
And the letter has a reprimand in for that too.
It was held against me for bringing my tools home, yes.
The next one, number 4. That's removing your tools, right?
Yes.
And your personal tools, did you use them for the town of Greenland?
All the time.
They take the Greenland money for buying tools, right?
Correct.
By the way, how many lawns do you mow for the town of Greenland every week?
There's 29 total, but 2 big ones are cemeteries, which I mow every other week, so really 28.
You mow 28? And have you ever had any complaints about how you mow the grass?
Not to my knowledge.
And then you're the road agent. What does that entail?
I patch the roads, work with a guy that does the roadside mowing, tree work, safety issues, signs, patching holes. We have a road under construction right now. I would check up on them.
And do you get paid any extra for being a road agent?
No, they put the title on me at no extra pay.
And you've never complained about that?
No.
The, number 5, this is April 29th of this year, about a resident complaining that someone mowed his own property. Does that have anything to do with you?
To this day, we don't know who cut down the stuff. It had nothing to do with me, no.
But you're being blamed for it, yeah, right?
I guess so, it's in the letter.
Okay. Number 6, Paul. Well, this is May 24th. We're getting kind of current here. And what's this about? You left early.
Yeah, Friday I left about half a day. I had, I think, 42 hours in that week. The weather was killing me. I worked a couple long days while it was dry to get the mowing done.
And why are you being terminated for this one?
I have no idea. I can't answer that.
Okay. It says here you refused instruction and threatened to sue the town if they tried to make you adhere to a directed schedule. You told the town administrator you hoped the board would just fire you so that you could sue.
What I was told is I left early. They were going to take time off of from my vacation because I left early even though I had more than 40 hours.
Okay. And that upset you?
Well, yeah, I'm salary, so
Under the law, you could work 2 hours a week and get your full pay.
I guess so.
Well, the next one, number 7, this is May 29th, a few days after that. What's this one about?
I was scheduled to come in for a non-public. Monday must have been a holiday because you had the selectmen's meeting on a Tuesday. I was in the other room with the cemetery committee having a meeting, and I got a message that my sister was in an accident, so I left.
And by the way, you're the cemetery section too, right?
Yes, I am.
You get paid extra for that?
I get a stipend, I think it's 600 or 650 at the end of the year.
And what do you do for the cemetery?
I work with the cemetery committee. We take care of stones, the property. I dig the cremations.
And by the way, you haven't been fired as town agent or cemetery section, have you?
Road agent, you mean?
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah. No, according to the paperwork, I think I'm still the road agent. If you read it, but no, I'm still the sexton at this point that I know of.
Okay. The next one is May 30th, number 8 of 11. And what's this all about the transfer station?
transfer station, we received a phone call that our trash wasn't going to the place where it was supposed to be, which nobody had any idea. The old town administrator gave permission at one time. The two furnaces were down in the weigh station, and there's another place down the street where Paula has a contract with, and they had permission to go there, but we found out a little while later that they never came back.
And why are you getting fired for this?
I have no idea. The day that it was brought to my attention, I called them right up and figured out what was going on and solved it to my knowledge.
Now we're getting close. June 6th, number 9. What's this one about? The town administrator sent you an email requesting an update on a number of projects.
It's a bunch of small projects, non-emergency, and to fill in an extra time that I have with no timelines.
And what's the problem there?
I have no idea.
Okay. And by the way, during this high mowing season, you can almost get 2 cuts of hay in. What's your work day like, mowing grass?
Non-stop.
And with all the rain, can you mow in the rain?
No, I go around and I weed whack.
But we've had a lot of rain,
Yes.
and that makes the grass grow.
Yep.
And you kept up with it, right?
Did my best.
Number 10, June 7th, the next day, complaints that a contractor had left the road at Water's Edge in poor condition.
That road is under total reconstruction. You can almost say it's right at sea level. It's right even with the bay. And we had a very heavy rain. I got my first knowledge of anything. The fire chief called me and said there was a vehicle stuck down there. I don't know what it was, but some type of vehicle got stuck. And as soon as I did that, I grabbed some sawhorses and a rope close on and closed the road.
And finally, number 11, on June 11th, the town administrator received a phone call from Triano, and that's the rubbish people, I guess, advising him that one of the drivers is now refusing to pick up containers at the Greenland station due to rat infestation. What's your side of that story?
Well, we have a bucket of rat poison up there, which Callie puts out when he sees any indication that there are some up there. He's been doing that for the last 2 years. I've seen one rat up there in 10 years since I've been working up there. But the state also put out a thing this year about cutting back on rat poison because of the birdish.
And what happens when birds eat the rats?
They die.
Okay. And what's your fault in all this?
I don't know.
Okay, so does that basically cover the reasons that you were given for your dismissal?
All 11 of them, yeah.
All of it. And you want to say anything else to this Board of Selectmen?
No, not at this time.
I would like to call on any members of the public who want to say anything in support or want.
No, I'm gonna tell you, we're not gonna have, there's a public comment section for the meeting, for the board afterwards. If you got people you wanna call, have them come up, or you wanna ask them questions, I think that's the way you gotta do this.
I'd like to call Paul Sanderson.
All right?
Too close to me.
Paul, you've heard what's going on, you've known this man how long?
Well, for the purpose of the record, my name is Paul Sanderson. I'm a resident here in Greenland. And up until March, I was a selectman in the town. And during that, my last term as a selectman, I was the liaison between the Board of Selectmen and Paul Hayden. I've also known him in excess of 30 years as an individual because where I used to live on Caswell Drive, it's across the street from the home where he and his parents reside.
And in your tenure, how long were you on the board?
At various times, not consecutive, I served 12 years as a selectman.
And during that time, did you have any trouble with this gentleman, Paul Hayden?
There are always circumstances where questions would come up and where comments had to be made. And I always found that if I brought matters to the attention of Mr. Hayden, that the matters were in fact successfully resolved.
Do you have any estimate on how many people it will take to replace this guy?
Well, it's going to be difficult for these reasons. The entire reason that his position was created years ago was in order to consolidate the functions that had been fragmented between various departments. If you take a look at statute, for example, the library trustees can do as they wish and they can have their own service providers. The Recreation Commission can have their own service providers. That can also happen with the selectmen and the cemetery. As you've already noted, he is the sexton of the cemetery. The cemetery trustees, who are in fact elected, have their own budget and do not have to use a town employee if they don't wish. And so what we were able to do years ago is consolidate all of that into one position and enable that one person to serve all of these different departments as efficiently and inexpensively as possible. Now that that has been taken away from us, we'll go back to what we call the bad old days. We know that in the bad old days, the cemetery work cost as much as $15,000 a year. The recreation work is much more extensive than it was even when the position was created. Back then, Maloney Field didn't exist. The library is its own situation. And as I indicated to you, in various other town functions, there are cemeteries and parks and the rest that cause him to move 28 different locations. If that in fact could be done by one single employee again, I don't know where they would find them. If they went out to contract, it's likely it's going to cost the town substantially more because those contractors are going to have not only their own hourly rates, but they'll be dealing with insurance and other charges the town can avoid. So part of our comment today is just how much this is going to cause inefficiency. It's going to cause difficulty in performance of these necessary services, and as taxpayers, we're all going to pay.
I didn't ask him if he did the snow plowing, but did he do the snow plowing too on the town properties?
Snow plowing is done primarily by a winter contract with Jim Jones. However, there are areas that Paul did take care of as the property maintenance supervisor, primarily sidewalks and controlling the dump. And here at Town Hall, during those periods of time, the contractor was out on the roads.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Do you have an hour? Because it wouldn't be pleasant. And unfortunately, I can tell you as part of my last term here, we obviously had a different town administrator. But certainly, I noticed from the very time that Selectman Duraki and Selectman Fuzzy were elected, they had difficulties. They wanted things done differently. They wanted to have much more intense control. But in fact, that doesn't work. Because Paul is an exempt employee, he can't be kept to a certain schedule like that. As seasons change during the year, his hours and his tasks change. It would not make sense. But as soon as Selectman Morgan and myself determined that we were not running for re-election, all of a sudden the intensity just ratcheted up, ratchet, until we have what we have here today. And so I guess what I would say is we're here, so many of us as former public officials, because we are so upset at the behavior that we have seen. That the public needs to come and tell you and call you out and hold you accountable for the things that you have done.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Selectman Morgan if he wants to add anything to this hearing.
Well, I don't want to be redundant because Paul pretty much said exactly what it is that I feel also.
Okay.
But we have,
I'm just telling your name.
Ron Morgan, 16 Holly Lane, past board member. We have a lot of former select board members and town officials here tonight in support of Holly. And they're also here tonight to express their disdain for the action that the board members took when they fired Paul on the 14th. for what they term poor job performance. This is using vapid accusations for reasons that just doesn't stand up. We have all known and worked with Paul for the last 10 years. He is a dedicated employee, he's a hard worker, and boy, it'd be very hard to replace him. Honestly, I'm telling this board, you should be ashamed of yourself. You are elected as town officials to be leaders, not rulers of this town.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Spell your name.
My name is Mark Clement. I'm speaking, and I'd like you to ask me questions. I personally worked with Paul Hayden for a summer as a part-time lead worker. That is my title. 20 hours a week. As I say, it was 5 years ago, for about 5.5 months.
You live in the town.
I do, at 94 Post Road, lived there for 45 years. Known Paul for the better part of 25 years, all around town. And I thoroughly enjoyed working with Paul for the entire time. But the most salient point is, during that 5.5 months that I worked with Paul, I never, not once, incurred any one of the 11 columns that we spoke to, not once. We started at 7 o'clock in the morning. We worked until noon most days. We had a rain day. Very often we wound ourselves up in the shop, taking care of tools and things that day. I'd also like to point out that in the shop that I worked in with Paul, 90% of the tools that we worked with were Paul's tools that he freely gave to the town at no charge. Time and again. And when Paul decided to take his tools away, he had every right to do that. It was a very well equipped shop, and today I'm sorry to say the town is looking at a very expensive cost of putting new tools there. Shame on you. You lost a real asset because of your pettiness. And again, I will speak on his behalf anytime.
And
Thank you, Paul.
thank you. Of those of you here, those of you who are here in support of Paul Hayden, could you raise your hand? And for the record, almost 31 people, all of them aren't sitting at that table, but everyone in this room, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and out in that side room, another 9.
24. Who's opposed?
Is there anyone that supports the board's decision?
No.
No. And we could extend this for here, all of them, but I presume that all of them are in support of them, and that'll make him later, but that's our argument, that the reasons are pretextual, that the micromanaging by selectmen has occurred here. The person who's legally Paul's boss is sitting at the end of the table, Matt Scruton, and he's the town administrator, and he has the legal responsibility of supervising. And I agree that your personnel rules allow the selectmen to discharge someone for cause, but it doesn't allow you to harass them, and that's what's happening. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. McCaffrey. You have a response?
Yes, first of all, the whistleblower, the allegation of a pretextual action, the allegation of a hostile environment was found in favor of the town. So that was the resolution of that. And 2 clarifications. I understand Mr. Hayden remains the road agent and the cemetery sexton. Those are positions that he sought out and still retains. I'm sorry, my name is Larry Borman. And I was asked for my opinion as to the validity of the action the board took. For that purpose, I first went to the town handbook, which in section 5 describes steps related to discipline, providing that no permanent employee shall be suspended, disciplined, or discharged without just cause. And then cause is defined, among others, as disobedience or violation of any department regulation, rule, order, instruction, or memorandum, insubordination, disobedience of a lawful order, neglect of duty, inefficiency, arrogance, oppression, or tyranny, discharge of duty, or unnecessary violence or indignity to a citizen. What Mr. McCaffrey was referencing before was the letter of discharge sent to Mr. Hayden dated June 14, 2019. Let me share a little more context with you so you understand why I've come to the opinion that the board had just cause in acting as it did. On February 8th, Mr. Hussey asked that the safety issue at Town Hall be addressed, and Mr. Hayden responded, "Fuck you," and later refused to apologize because he claimed he had a right to do so because he was not on the clock. In fact, he was on the clock. His time sheet showed that. On May 29th, the town administrator provided him with a letter outlining the select board's expectations regarding schedule. He initially refused to abide by that schedule. Ultimately did, but it was found to be insubordinate in the first instance. On that same day, Mr. Hussey entered the Greenland garage with the town administrator after he had removed all the equipment and noticed plastic gas cans left out, improperly stored, and the fire alarms that the town administrator instructed him to purchase were nowhere to be seen. That was determined by them to be insubordinate. As I understand it, that there is a history, and I'm told this, I don't know this for a fact, there's a history of the mechanic providing his or her tools, because that provides that those tools are better taken care of. That is historically what has happened. Mr. Hayden removed his equipment as a result of his disputes with his superiors, and then said that he was unable to do any work because he didn't have any equipment. That was found to be insubordinate. On April 29th, a resident complained about mowing near Caswell Field, and Mr. Hayden correctly said, "We don't know who did it." He was asked, however, to go over and approach, first to get do not trespass or private property signs to put along the property, and reach out to the property owner to explain what was being done in that regard. The property owner said the signs weren't there, and he never heard from Mr. Hayden. On May 24th, the town administrator spoke with Mr. Hayden because he left early for the day, reminded him that the board wanted him to maintain a normal schedule. He refused instruction, threatened to sue the town if it tried to make him adhere to the directed schedule, and as you heard before, told the town administrator he hoped that they would fire him so that he could sue. This was determined to be insubordinate. On May 29th, the town administrator wrote to the board, meant to discuss, among other things, Mr. Hayden's work schedule at a meeting. He declined to attend, although invited to do so, and later indicated it was due to a family emergency, which apparently did not turn out to be an emergency. I don't personally have the background. In a note to the town administrator to set out his schedule, in a note to him, the town administrator set out the schedule. On June 3rd, Mr. Hayden confronted the town administrator about the schedule, pointed his finger at him and said he could not open the dump at the appointed hour, that he could not come in early on Wednesdays. The town administrator instructed that the schedule would not be changed, and he was to make sure that the transfer station was open on time. He stated if he had to be on a set schedule, then others should be as well. He gave no indication that he was going to comply with the established schedule, and instead threatened to file a grievance after being told that he had to adhere to that schedule. On May 30th, 2019, the town learned that he had not properly overseen the town's transfer waste hauling contract, that all MSW waste was supposed to go to one contractor that was not, putting the town at risk of some $20,000 in damages. Toronto ended up excusing that breach of contract, but for that concession, the town would have been on the hook for approximately $20,000. On June 6th, the town administrator sent an email requesting an update on a number of projects. On the 7th, when he met with the town administrator, he said he hadn't been able to do any of the projects because he's too busy mowing. He would not provide a timeline when they might be completed. He was told that these tasks were important to the town and part of his basic job responsibilities. Some involve basic worker safety, and they still remain incomplete. On June 7th, the town received complaints from that a contractor had left the road at Water's Edge in poor condition. Mr. Hayden was asked to investigate and report back. He did, and he said that the roads were passable. The town continued to receive complaints. The building inspector and town administrator investigated and determined the road running and barely passable. The town administrator then contacted the road engineer, and the contractor returned to clean up the road. It was determined that his assessment of the road condition was inaccurate, and he did not take appropriate action to have the condition addressed. And then, as we heard before, on June 11th, the town administrator received a phone call from Troiano advising that one of his drivers is now refusing to pick up containers at the Greenland transfer station due to a rat infestation, and several of his drivers are concerned about the rat problem. When the town administrator asked him about this, he did not seem overly concerned. He did not agree that there was a rat problem despite the complaints. This is a safety issue that needed to be addressed, and the town administrator should have been informed about that issue. So those were the issues that were raised in the letter. Those are square on with a number of the types of infractions that that justify cause under the Town of Greenland handbook. So based on that, it was determined that the board had just cause for that termination if it was so inclined.
My chance for a rebuttal.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We need one of those chairs.
I need a photo. Let the record show that the attorney for the administrator was reading basically from the charge of which he has no personal knowledge. We don't want to respond to all of them, but we do want to respond to the first one in February where Paul was provoked into saying "fuck you" to Selectman Duraki.
No, Mr. Huzzy.
Mr. Huzzy, okay. There are Huzzies everywhere here. It's almost as bad as McCaffrey's enforcement. Tell us in your own words, blow by blow, what happened that day between you and Selectman Huzzy?
I was sitting in here having a conversation with Chief Laurent, and he came here and pointed at me and said, "Come here." And I said, "I'm in the middle of a conversation." He says, "Come here now." And I walked out in the hall and he showed me tape on a light switch. I want this taken care of. It's an emergency. I don't know how he put it, but I said, "Okay, it's a non-emergency at this point." And I came back in the end, he was hounding me, and I said, "Do not talk to me in that manner." And we got into it, and I said it.
And then you apologized in writing.
I did not write the letter.
Okay, but you signed it.
I did sign a letter, yes.
And you were asked to apologize and you did.
Well, I take the letter as an apology, yes.
And do you know whether your apology was ever accepted?
You'd have to ask them.
Yeah, that's all. Yes. If I could just talk a little bit, because I was on the board in February. I can certainly testify as being a selectman in February that as all members of the board, we were informed of this particular incident. And we did in fact discuss this matter with the police chief, who was a witness to all of this. And we took a look at the totality of the circumstances. And we did not elect to proceed at that time for several reasons. Most important of which is something that this board has totally forgotten, which is that no individual selectman acts alone. They have no power alone. They can only act as a board. And so when any one particular individual comes in and enters into an order with an employee, that employee is completely free to ignore it because it's not the will of the board. And believe me, after having many years of experience with Mr. Hussey, there are times when I'm afraid my language might have gone awry too. So we all understood that. Not only that, since the board resolved this matter in February, how can this now be brought up when it was completely resolved in February? They simply waited for an election when different people were around, and now it becomes a pretext for action. One other point that's very, very important. Here in Greenland, we have a town administrator system. This is not a town manager system. Mr. Scruton, I'm the town administrator who served before Mr. Scruton, and the town administrator who served before Mrs. Anderson. They don't have any individual authority. You won't find the word town administrator in any of our New Hampshire statutes. The only authority that the town administrator has is the authority that's given to them by the board. So therefore, Mr. Scruton and Mrs. Anderson and any other person who serves as the town administrator is not a supervisor unless they've been so designated by a vote of the board of selectmen. And so when he was giving supposed instructions as a supervisor, he was doing so only in his capacity as an agent of the board. And so therefore, this is the instructions of the board, if in fact it was a lawful instruction, and they are responsible for all of these instructions.
That's been very helpful, Paul. And that's about it. Thank you for listening.
Thanks. All right. Board's going to take this matter under advisement. No, we're going to meet with their attorney. There'll be nothing tonight. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
May we be excused?
Of course, thank you for your time.
And thank you all.
I appreciate it. Well, good to see you, Paul.
Good luck, guys.
That's so awesome.
Nice to see you.
Come on through, I want to hear the ambulance call go up.
How did you get an eagle?
Leave this back.
Oh, I know. You work where I work.
Sorry, Colin. Sorry.
Gentleman sitting over there. He was never identified. The gentleman sitting.
We'll get going again here. Public comment, the people signed up and left. So I guess we're not gonna have that. Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes.
Motion to approve minutes is written.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'll have it. Next, Copley updates.
There's a meeting tomorrow for anyone interested in attending, from 6 to 8 o'clock at Bethany Church. I posted this on the town website. They will be discussing the private well sampling and ongoing and completed investigations, starting at 6 o'clock. The last meeting they had over there was a listening session. Today they will be doing talking.
Hey, we got the week's update. Week's library.
And we received a notification from Superior Court, basically that everything's been published, that it's been forwarded by the town attorney law firm. And note that when the attorney, when the guardian ad litem completes the report on the heads of weeks, that the case will be resolved.
I can do that. You will do that. Just for the record, the appointments of the bond release and the road acceptance in reference to Denver Valley and that development, postponed to next meeting.
Okay. So there's a letter that we passed around indicating they would like to.
Yeah, we'll skip back to old business. Anybody got any old business?
On the side.
Okay. Timber tax warrant.
And again, we're skipping over the Ritchie Garland Center that requested release of funds for the program. However, since it was already approved at the town meeting, it doesn't need additional board approval for assembly and unanimous. So we're moving on to number 2, the timber tax warrant. Has been prepared for 160 Newry Road in the amount of $1,990.76 for the timber tax.
I move to approve the timber tax warrant for 160 Newington Road in the amount of $1,990.76.
Second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, next is the acceptance of resignation from the Conservation Commission.
Summer Roll from the Conservation Commission has resigned due to relocating. And the Maritime Commission, the RSA,
7, and Conservation Commission members are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. I would ask for a motion to accept the resignation of Sarah.
I move to accept the resignation of Sarah Rowe, Conservation Commission.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, next on the agenda here is our water meters.
Okay. Last week we sent out a few requests to different local area landscapers that we thought might have interest in quoting. There's no means an exhaustive list of landscapers, but we did contact about 8 or 10 in the area, as well as posting it on the website, Facebook, and on the board. We were just looking for quotes, and the main purpose was to give the board an option because the grass is growing and something needs to be done. Last week at Walling Field, it was noted by the participants field hockey, that the grass was too long, so since we needed to do something quick, I simply contacted Mr. Pearl to do it for that one day. By no means was that guaranteed for continued work, but it did bring up the question, who will do the lawns? We do not have an employee responsible for the task of mowing. Would the board like to hire part-time help, or would the board like to outsource this? And just to be proactive and give the board an initial start of consideration, we did ask for some quotes, and we have them, and pass those out to you. I think there were a total of 5. Five different landscape companies that have provided quotes for doing some of the fields and cemetery work. And this is not an exhaustive list of all the areas that may require mowing. This is simply what we put together in a short amount of time. So we can certainly put out a more formal RFP if you would like. Again, this is just to try to give the board a sense of what it may cost the town to do this if it were to contract out the services. So we have those quotes available, and welcome any feedback or questions. Really, the board needs to discuss, where does it want to go from here? We have still the rest of the summer to get through. How the board like to proceed with the mowing needs of the town.
Okay. We own the mowers, we have mowers. Yeah. I think that when I was doing my work is to hire a part-time person, maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, for the summertime to do summer mowing, and some other would be put out there, the people, whoever is the best bidder. But that way we would have somebody here that not only could mow, but could do minor repairs, put up a sign, do this, do that. Right now, we don't have anybody that can do that type of thing. Well, I'm not saying to pull the shot in. I did contact the guy, that's his job, so I always to put up just one sign. You get a bunch of them, but I'm a he won't probably get that right, but just mark up one sign for 1 day is $75. Well, I think we better serve to hire somebody that's handy with their tools.
Did you retain the part-timer that we had?
No, he left, he did, okay.
All right, because initially we discussed hiring part-time. I have an issue with the way this was done. My phone does ring sometimes, and most of these contractors didn't realize that they were just giving data for data collection. They thought that something was going to be awarded tonight, and they were a little upset that they went around and wasted their time. That it wasn't quite a complete list, and it wasn't necessarily somebody's, this is a bid package. It doesn't, I don't think it was presented correctly to some of these contractors. And some other contractors said, well, I didn't really know about it, I didn't get called, and I found out on Facebook. I understand that that's an avenue, but to me, it's gotta have, we need an RFP, this is gonna be the correct period. This is, I don't appreciate this one bit, but I'll be honest with you guys. This is, to me, not how it's done. This is how, if I want somebody to come give me a quote on my own personal one, this is how it goes. But not for the time. You gotta, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's gotta go off across the proposal with how many times it's gonna be mowed, the height it's gonna be mowed. Something that's getting stored on site, we brought away. There's a lot of variables in the contract. And any of these guys that have written, that have done these quotes, have seen enough contracts that they can write them. But that's a quote from two of the people on here said, I can't believe they wasted my time. He said, well, I apologize. If that's not the way it was presented, I apologize. And that's the way they perceived it. So that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm presenting. So I do tend to agree with it.
I would take exception with that. I think that, as it says above, there's a quote. We wanted to have an idea of what ballpark we were in, what it was gonna cost us.
I understand that.
So, it's not,
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
well, it's more a form of bid.
The contractors didn't understand that, it wasn't presented correctly, that's my problem. I understand we're getting a ballpark in. Well, everybody should have been advised of that, that's my only point here, is, hey guys, would you like to come in and give us a ballpark that we can use to see if we want to even go for our RFP? I don't know, I think that's,
Any comments, Steve?
just a procedure, that's all.
I tend to agree with Chester. I mean, not that it wasn't presented the right way, I just think it was done very quickly. I think going forward, we should probably have a set quote, an RFP to, get a standard of what we're gonna ask for. As far as, yeah, you can say you can go mow Caswell Field, or whatever, but I think, in the long run, it would behoove us to, get a set, standard of what we're gonna ask for.
Well, I agree with it.
Because all these have certain stipulations, and if we do this or if we do that, so these numbers, you gotta crunch all these numbers way down to get, per mow and everything else. We didn't bid certain locations and total quotes at the bottom, they didn't so we had jobs. So, this is, we got apples and oranges, all chopped up on the lawn, to me. That's how I feel about this. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. That's not my point. So the companies and the numbers, doesn't really matter.
We'll take your comment.
No, I don't know, I should agree with what Chester said on that. Obviously, I'm not good at landscaping myself, but when it comes to quotes, so they're telling us from the total quote period from 7/1 to 10/31, and I'm looking at these numbers, how could this one here, even though he says he's not gonna do the cemeteries, be that cheap? That, that's what I don't get. You got small quote and larger quotes, from three others. And it confuses me how they can come up with this.
Well, you haven't got a clear swipe on a cemetery, you gotta go around all the gravestones.
That takes time.
And it does take a lot of time.
In my opinion, it's not all necessarily these contractors. They kind of took this and tweaked it the way that they wanted to do it. I'll do this, but I won't do that, and if I get this, if I get discounts, I get everything in the proposal, but I don't want to do this part. So, these aren't, you can't take these numbers and compare them unless you break it down, every little thing, and you really can't, because they're not bidding on the same thing, that's why. And we need an RFP, period. And everybody bids on the same thing, everybody knows the game, everybody knows the rules, and everybody can bid fairly. And not, I'll do it cheaper if I can buy it for equipment, if the town may sell something.
You can't do that. We can't.
I'm offended that that's even writing.
That's selecting, we can't do that.
Again, we have a bigger problem, we can do it in the road.
Well, we have, but we put design, the partner, or just conceptual. He was going to start working as of July. Have we posted anything? We haven't posted to replace him? No. Okay, that's.
That actually would be a bad idea to do anyway. Well, I don't know, but that contract, I had a couple more.
Right, I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we had one, and we're gonna get a couple more to get through. So, 2 weeks ago, we haven't done anything.
Correct, yeah.
So, we gotta go outsourcing.
We've got a couple of, we have a 12 applications we got in, we had additional, before we check on those. See if they're available.
One of the problems you may run into is transportation on the road, because the truck and the trailer, we technically requires. Right. So, we need. We should go back to one of the reasons for outsourcing. Because it'd be difficult to find a part-time person with the credentials required to use the equipment to transport.
And when was the last time we received the applications to these people?
Beginning of the year.
Beginning of June, or?
Well,
Yeah, at the beginning, so.
They're probably all gonna probably find those jobs in the meantime, so. You're gonna end up, I think we should go and, get the landscape of the road.
We should finish off the season here.
Just finish the season. We're on a pickle right now.
Yeah. So we get right, we need a contract, we need to do it the right way, and have it for next Friday. And if we need to subcontract someone else this week to get the grass cut, that's what we have to do. Because we did lose our part-time employee.
You can have a, emergency meeting on it, you can do that.
To hire somebody, we should have an emergency meeting.
Yeah.
There was not one done for the last hire. If any, I don't know if this whole board was in on that.
No, nobody was in on it. That was just the supervisor.
Correct. The board delegated the
right.
offers. That was the former board, I believe. This board authorized me to do it for the last hire. Oh, sorry, I think it was 2 of them.
I would be tempted to have Paul do everything but cemeteries, and see what his contract looks like, and we make a decision on Friday, don't give him a final contract.
And he gets to do that because why? Because, you know what, I have a question. Is he employed, is he a firefighter in Greenville?
No.
He's
Well,
not.
actually, it might be.
Is there a conflict there?
No.
Okay, why? How come he does it? I mean, it's just, I don't understand this, you're gonna have to explain this to me. How come this doesn't go out to every landscaper in the world?
Because you never get a time.
I don't think that matters. I don't think that trumps, you get to pick who does it. And you just picked who did it.
Here, I'm just looking at the prices, and
These prices are bunk, that is worthless information. You cannot compare them, they're not all the same. They're not bidding the same price, they're not giving you the same service, each one. They're not. They're all in the stipulations in it. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna argue that all night long. I got tomorrow on, so I got all night.
I know.
So you gotta do it the right way, that's all I'm asking. I know time is of an essence, so sub everything else this week, cut somebody a check, I'll give you that, but we need to write the report drawn up, and let's get it done by next Monday. We want them in by Friday or Monday, and that's it. And we should have done this the last week, in my opinion. We should have had an emergency meeting. I did not know that the part-time employee did not come back. I didn't know that was an issue. And I'm not blaming anybody that I don't know that, maybe I should have known anyway.
No, we didn't know he wasn't coming back, because he didn't show up. I actually went to the,
That's a time I would have logic like that.
I actually went to the house and up to the council and called him, so I could find out if he's coming in to work.
Right, so, I mean, so right then and there, we're in a dilemma. And we shouldn't have waited this long. We need to be honest. As you saw, the room full of people. There's a microphone for us. Anybody else?
Who would draw up the request for proposal? If that's what you need.
I can start the draft and we'll circulate it for revision.
I didn't know if there was a.
Your request for proposals are written all the time. It's a state practice.
Okay. Well, I know that, but I didn't know if there was a board of, I'm sorry, Marsh McLaughlin, 27 in.
I'd be happy to do that.
Is that what the board wants?
I think that's the proper procedure to follow.
Okay, Steve,
Yes.
Richard?
I like to see it so we know what we're getting out of the proposals they've given us. Because you don't know.
When's the last time it was moved? Well, that's a separate subject right now, but I was gonna say we talked to, Paul and Todd, just on the face value of the laws, so they can see if they can get the fields done in the parks. The cemetery,
For or yeah, combination.
yeah. There's a, the cemetery is way all over the way here.
I can check with Todd to see if he can do the cemeteries and for the.
Yeah. So until we can get the decision made, because the fields do need to get mowed. Parks are coming to a point where they're gonna have to be, and the cemeteries get that stupid weed, if ever find something to kill that one weed, we're gonna have to mow a hillside or something wrong.
Are there any additional locations that aren't listed here?
I don't know, buddy, I've got to wrap my brain. There's one cemetery on Osprey that's owned by, the neighbor to it. You know, Cape Rose.
Yeah, I know the softball.
Well, there was a question about, the one on
Breakfast Hills.
Hey, Rich. Whether that's.
Yeah, Osprey Grove, yeah.
Osprey Grove, Bay Ridge, yeah. It was a landscape. It is. Yeah. Is that correct?
No, okay.
No. I don't think anybody mows grave down way down the railroad tracks, you know.
No.
And I don't know any others.
Weeks is due, John does, Weeks is one out of the point there. Just let him worry on the point.
I know Tom does a bracket. Tom Griffin does a bracket. There's a few flowers out there. So is that something like that we want to do till we get to the award contract?
I think it would be a good idea.
What you're saying, get Paul and Todd, Earl and Todd's, the attorney will issue a contract or something. You have a problem with that, Chester? We don't want this thing, yeah, I know that, but I know.
Cost of ethics is, to me, worth it, but.
Your opinion, Richard? I'll go down 4-1, I'll do that. Go on. It was Richard's show last week. That's me.
No, boy.
Yeah. No, that's right. I get those two. So they can do it until we get, better idea.
I had to recuse myself from the vote. I work for this company, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm on the payroll.
Hello. Steve?
Yes, I would move that we,
I mean, if you want to make a motion again, we can just.
no, I would say that we should at least make it, present it out that way, that we,
Consider it done. I'll send it out to the board for review, if you have any additions, subtractions.
And in the meantime, we'll get it,
We'll squeeze up. Yeah, contact, Earl, tell them if they can't do it, we'll keep going down the list.
other new business.
Marjorie's Museum?
No.
No, we're just direction.
I just want to let the board know, I'm going to be away the week of July 15th. I will be in Stratham the entire week because of the fair, so if anything comes up, I will keep the cell phone available, but don't count on me for anything unless it's very.
That's a spare.
That's for you.
You want a meeting that morning?
For, yes, the 18th is a planning board meeting. So I will not be available for that. Yes.
There's no-
18th, that Thursday. Continuations.
This probably should have been brought up on the whole business. This, the crosswalk along 33.
Yeah. Okay. We should make a decision what we want to do though. So I personally disagree with the chief's opinion. Not personally.
I think that even if it's only one or two people who use it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Sidewalk there.
Well, they get somebody kicked off because they tried to keep the traffic on purpose.
Yeah. Rather have it not needed, so either not have it there, I mean.
Yeah, it's not like it's only.
It's a button, right, so. There's not a lot of people just run over and hit the button to make sure it works. We ever sent a letter to the state stating we wanted that to,
We sent, that was for the undesignated crosswalk in front of school.
what about the other?
So that one.
That's what we did that one time. So then how we did, probably did that on account of that after the state we,
They were asking for additional lights on the undesignated one in front of school. Is that?
No, you're still on the record, it's actually 33 and 151. They were no one with that loss.
That's the one that, Chief referenced here, and made the recommendation that it be raised because of the cost of improvement, to the town. The state would want the town to improve some of the walkway area on the corner in particular. So there would be cost to the town for that. Her recommendations to amend, if I'm reading the letter
I
correctly.
think that's what, the way I read it is they want to cut the curve back and the way that slope comes down off of that bank and make an actual walkway, sidewalk, whatever you want to say it, to a ramp that goes down to the road surface into the intersection.
I just find it interesting, the state's been involved twice when we had a chance to improve that intersection, not once did they recommend.
I guess my gripe is, why did they allow it in the first place if it's such a problem?
Because they don't want to maintain it. That's the problem. That's only the problem.
The board likely to send a letter, indicating that the board wants to continue the crosswalk and to do the work necessary to.
Yeah, more forward on breaking out that intersection that they.
Can I say one thing before you? The only problem is, I see what the state's talking about, because somebody crosses that, say, try to be safe, they're not gonna be, because cars or trucks come around that corner, but, when, you know, and it's hard for anybody to walk, to get in, you know, get out of harm's way from where that is. And if they have to cut into that, there's a lot of ledge there, and on top of that, on the other side of the ledge, if people remember, there's a leach field under the parking lot. It's septic and that stuff.
That's
So
what
the state might, yeah, well, that's because the state finds that out and want to take into the air for, you know, even a liability issue, if somebody gets hurt there, so who's gonna assume liability? Also the state. The state might not assume liability because we said we wanted it there.
I am just wondering why don't they go straight across? I don't
they probably could, and it would solve a lot of issues and put a crosswalk right where that stop sign is. If people come off at 33, to go to Dunkin' Donuts, that would be a better thing to do. And it probably costs the state a heck of a lot less than versus maintaining that and have to cut in, cut into that.
That likely be a problem.
It would be a problem, and it's not safe because then you gotta cut into it all the way back. So somebody can actually walk and not get hit by a truck or a car. You know,
I would recommend you change the location of the crosswalk, go straight across 33. And that way the town, whoever's gonna put a sidewalk, yep, send it on Dunkin' Donuts. That is a state design, that has nothing to do with the town of Railroad. I think that'd be actually cheaper for them,
but don't they have something on file, the state, when they first put that way in, how they designed that whole roadway?
yeah,
I think have it on file, usually they do.
Yeah.
The state engineer does.
that's the way they designed it. And they changed when they widened it.
Yeah, but they didn't think, you know.
There's no right to turn on red there because of that issue.
Oh, no, that wasn't because of that. Well, yeah, because they widened it.
Because
You can't see
right.
Dunkin' Donuts.
traffic coming from the other direction.
That's what explained that. That's what happened. You go, so that's all, straight across, and that way you get good visibility. People actually can see. Okay. And one of the things I want to see with showing you is the side, is the crosswalks clear as they have been in the past.
So your motion, you made a motion to?
Motion to relocate the crosswalk across directly from the, and that's all on the one crossing is to, directly across the street towards the, real estate office. And we'll work on adding sidewalks in the town here eventually. That's a lot safer right here, it's actually got some shoulder.
Jimmy, second then.
Is there something about that here? Also. Because outside, a lot of people do use that crosswalk all the time, but it's, especially weekends. You need that motion? I do. All in favor? Sure. Opposed? Anything else on the new business?
See this turn.
We do have the, on the next section, the manifest. If you're ready for this.
Yeah. And actually kept track of it, because we left this night.
So we have a payroll manifest of $55,072.45.
I move we approve the attached payroll number 13, dated June 27, 2019, the period of June 10, 2019, through and including June 23, 2019. Gross amount excluding payroll liabilities, $55,072.40. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Next one.
General fund accounts payable. Hereby approve the attached manifest and the unpaid bills detailed of June 27, 2019, in the amount of $1,080,587.81. Manifest includes the first of the 2019-2020 Greenland School District payments of $1 million.
Second? Second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Anything else now, folks?
Move we approve.
That sounds good. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
All do work. Time to make the donuts?
I gotta be here midnight, so I got time to relax.
Lucky you.
The whole day.
Did I get that, the document that went around?
Yeah, yeah, it's on top of that purple.
There it is, thank you. Made it through, gentlemen.
All I got to say is, I must have missed that meeting when we talked about calling a meeting.
Steve,
That was recorded.